I'm very humbled to be here before you. I'm grateful and honored to be with you, those watching on DVD, and those listening on CD. The title of today is Seekers of the Light of Torah, an association of imperfect holy men and women. The specific aspect we'll be looking at is called the path of wisdom. Now, the Torah includes the 5 books of Moses. The Old Testament is based on the many more books also that are included in Torah. So it is said that when Moses was on the mountain, he brought back down the written Torah, but there was also an oral Torah given to him and was passed on in oral tradition, and eventually that was written down centuries later as the Talmud. Now the Torah, the Old Testament is based on the Torah. We're going to focus on Proverbs, the Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel. He says, right in chapter 1, it says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and discipline." So we see it right there that it's the fear of God that's the beginning. Why is it the fear? Well, the fear is to fear the consequences of what we do. If I do things to cause harm to others, then harm will come to me, either through those others or through my internal psyche, where I then don't trust anybody because I've done such wrong things to other people. So right away, the punishment's immediate, because we tend to project onto others what we ourselves do. So if I'm doing wrong things, unfair things to other people, I then feel isolated in a world where I can trust no one because I project that onto other people. I have written a number of epigrams and poems related to wisdom. Nowhere can we hide from the effect that we cause. This law demands respect. It is a light unto the wise. We can't hide from the effect. If we're doing good to other people, we're being generous, we're being truthful, then the effect will come back to us manyfold. If we're doing harm to others, the harm will come to us manyfold, either through the others to whom we've wronged, or people who know the wrong we've done, or since we ourselves know, there's an immediate punishment within our own psyche due to the mechanism of projection. To truly see with your own eyes, seek to know what is deep within, and leave behind all truth and lies. Enter realms of fresh domain, and behold the jewel of the wise. We're going to see also in Scripture how we should really look at wisdom as a greater jewel than rubies, gold, and silver. And we're going to come to those quotes. Here is Solomon saying, "My son, heed the discipline of your father, and do not forsake the instruction of your mother." So in a normal situation with normal parents, the beginning of wisdom is there. Through obedience to parents, then that knowledge is passed on how to be. "My son, if sinners entice you, do not yield. If they say, 'Come with us, let us an ambush to shed blood, let us lie in wait for the innocent.'" So the way of wisdom will also protect us from the evil that lies within ourselves, as well as the evil that's in the world. Also in chapter 1, he says, "They shall eat the fruit of their ways." This is an extension of the law of cause and effect. As we do unto others, so it should be done unto us. All religions have a variation of that, of seeing the law of cause and effect, whether you're talking about Judaism, Christianity, Buddhism, Islam, Baha'i, all the religions all have in there. And so the wise truly see the end and the beginning. If I do this, the effect will be that. And that effect I don't want, but if I do this, that will happen, and that's the effect I do want. He said, "Son, if you accept my words and treasure up my commandments, if you make your ear attentive to wisdom," so making our ear attentive to it, which is that we should desire wisdom. We actually have to have a thirst for it. "And your mind open to discernment, if you call to understanding and cry aloud to discernment, if you seek it as you do silver and search for it as for treasures, So here it is. We have to search for it. We have to desire it. That's the key to attaining wisdom. There's an old Persian proverb that goes like this: make no search for water, but find thirst, and water from the very ground will burst. So the thirst itself brings it forth. There has to be a thirst for that wisdom. A person has to recognize, this is the jewel. This is the real treasure, is this wisdom. And so to do that, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and attain knowledge of God, for the Lord grants wisdom. So how do we increase the thirst for wisdom? Because not everybody was raised with that thirst. It's innate in all people to desire wisdom, and it's respected in all cultures throughout all times. It doesn't matter which continent, which nation, which time in the history of humanity, wisdom was always prized. And you always had a council of elders, people you went to receive that wisdom. Always it was prized. So a person has to have that yearning. And so they can ask God, say, God, please give me wisdom. Or they can turn it into a power thought. A power thought is a thought that you want to repeat every 5 minutes the first day and twice an hour thereafter. I seek wisdom as a great treasure. I seek wisdom more than gold. 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 And so they're using Dr. Nerenberg's mind-body workout system to internalize the thought. And keep in mind, I'm no expert on Torah, but I am an expert on internalizing thought. I seek wisdom more than gold. I seek wisdom more than gold. It's a great power thought to develop the thirst. I seek wisdom more than gold. And close the eyes and focus on I seek wisdom more than gold. And then as we do physical activity and get the proprioceptive involvement to help internalize it, I'm now closing my eyes, I'm pressing my hands together. I seek wisdom more than gold. I seek wisdom more than gold. I seek wisdom more than gold. Or rotating my shoulders, I seek wisdom more than gold. I seek wisdom more than gold. I really do. I seek wisdom more than gold. I really do. I seek wisdom more than gold. I really do. I really do is what's called an amplifier within Dr. Nerenberg's mind-body workout system, where there are 22 factors to help internalize the thought more powerfully and amplify that thought within ourselves. For wisdom will enter your mind, and knowledge will delight you. So it delights you, especially if you value it. Now, if you don't value wisdom, you hear it, well, you just change the channel. I don't know who wants to hear that. But once we value it, and we value it more than gold, because certainly our upbringing in society, gold is paramount. And there's no question that gold is very important. But we treasure wisdom more than gold. This is a greater treasure. And knowledge will delight you. Foresight will protect you. And discernment will guard you. It will save you from the way of evil men. Always there's reference to preventing the evil coming into ourselves. And that's done through wisdom. And we're given basically a safe, a sense of safety around ourselves, wisdom, to understand that if I do this, this will be the consequence, and I don't want that to happen. Now, what I'll do is reiterate the foundation, the fear of God. Now, the fear of God is a healthy fear. It's not a fear, a negative fear like a person might fear a snake biting it. This is a healthy fear. It's a variation of respect. And that fear of God leads to what? It leads to wanting to follow the commands of God. So, well, if I don't follow these commandments, I will damage myself. I don't even have to wait for God's punishment. I will damage myself by not following these commandments. So what does God tell us? He tells us to forgive one another. He tells us to love one another, to not judge one another. So we know these things. So if I hold a resentment against somebody and I don't follow the commandment of forgiveness, what happens? I myself carry in me a grudge, a dark place within myself that's damaging to my own organs. And we're going to see actually how wisdom itself leads to good health and long life. We're going to see that in Scripture. Now, what is the main danger? It's particularly he refers to his son. What is the main danger for many men? It's women. It says, wisdom, will save you from the forbidden woman. So, a danger for many men is a woman. A danger for many women is a man. So, it will save you from that. Wisdom is the protector. So follow the way of the good and keep to the path of the just. So here we see that involved in wisdom is goodness and justice. So I'm going to read a few of the poem epigrams that I have. The wise seek to serve the greatest good and cause no harm. This is the way of peace. To serve the greatest good and cause no harm. Sometimes serving the greatest good can cause harm to an individual, but the wise will seek to serve the greatest good and cause no harm to any individual, and that creates peace. That's the way of peace. So we see involved in wisdom is good, is justice, fairness. We see also, if we think about it, we meditate on it, we can see that also it's a way of peace. Wisdom is goodness with the awareness of imperfection. One of the sayings of Dr. Nerenberg here I'm using to extrapolate. Wisdom is goodness with the awareness of imperfection. So it's not naive, the awareness of goodness, but not a naive awareness. No, it's an imperfect world. Darkness exists, evil exists, but it's goodness. It's goodness with wisdom. So that wisdom itself will then protect us from the harm of an imperfect world, but at the same time, it is goodness itself. But it's goodness with wisdom. It is goodness with awareness of an imperfect world. Under the dominion of wisdom, the darkness of the world becomes the wind, inflaming the embers of goodness. Under the dominion of wisdom, the darkness of the world becomes the wind, inflaming the embers of goodness. So we're looking at with wisdom, even enemies become friends. The darkness becomes light. And we're going to see that soon in Proverbs, where he says even with the wisdom, your enemies will become your friends. Because with wisdom, the darkness itself will flame up the embers of the goodness, and it'll blossom, it'll become a flame. That's the great power of wisdom. That's why it's been so prized throughout time. Why are we being told to value wisdom in this way? It's because most people don't. If most people already prized wisdom, it wouldn't be in the Torah. It wouldn't be in the Old Testament. It wouldn't be throughout the scriptures of all religions. There would be no need to say that. But there's a need because there's a natural tendency to get caught up in the pursuit of gold, which is very important, the pursuit of gold. But wisdom even being more important. My son, do not forget my teachings, but let your mind retain my commandments. So the father wants the son to remember. Here's what I'm telling you. I'm telling you this for your own good. For they will bestow on you length of days. So here we're hearing that our length of days, our lifespan, is actually affected by listening to these commandments and becoming wise. Years of life and well-being. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. There's great wisdom in that. Because as we trust in the Lord, many anxieties just roll off us. Because I say, Lord, I leave all my affairs in your hand. I trust you to handle this. It's beyond me. I'm doing what I can, but beyond that, I leave the situation in your hand. What a great recipe, prescription for mental health, to trust in the Lord. The great wisdom, no sense of worrying about something you can't do anything about, which often happens in life. When we trust in the Lord, well, that relieves us of that. Fear the Lord and shun evil. It will be a cure for your body, a tonic for your bones. So the fear of the Lord, which is the source of all wisdom, it's a cure for the body. It's actually a cure for the body, a tonic for your bones. It's actually healthy for us physiologically. Well, we know that the commandments of God, like any father that loves his son or a mother that loves his son, the guidance is to protect us. So this is not a fear because God's on a power trip. This is asking us to fear him for our protection. So like a 2-year-old child running across the street to get a ball, and the father grabs the child, and the child is very angry. Why'd you grab me? I wanted to get that ball. Well, the father saw the car coming, wanted to save the life. So even at times we don't understand the wisdom of the commandment, just as that child didn't understand the wisdom of the father who saved her life, wasn't even grateful, in fact was angry, went into a rage, couldn't get the ball. But yet that wisdom, it's there for us. So the commandments that fear of God, which is like the respect of God, a healthy fear, protects us from ourselves and will lead to long life, a tonic for your bones, a cure for your body. People all want wisdom, and the prescription is right here. Happy is the man who finds wisdom. Happy is the man who finds wisdom. There it is. An important prescription for happiness. Find wisdom. Because wisdom allows us to keep perspective, allows us to transcend many things that would disturb us, no longer have that effect because our understanding goes beyond that. We see into the depths of things, which is one of the characteristics of wisdom, is depth. The man who attains understanding, her value in trade is better than silver, her yield greater than gold. She is more precious than rubies. All of your goods cannot equal her. In her right hand is length of days. Again, in the right hand of the wisdom is the length of days. In her left, riches and honor. And he ends with, and whosoever holds on to her is happy. Again, we're told, we hold on to wisdom and we will be happy. That's quite a promise. We will actually find happiness through wisdom. Now, how important is wisdom? The Lord founded the earth by wisdom. That's how important. The Lord actually founded the earth by wisdom. The foundation of the earth itself was by wisdom. And we're going to see that wisdom existed before the earth. At the beginning, wisdom was with the Lord. We're going to see from Proverbs that this is the case. But he says, the wise shall obtain honor. Sons, he always keeps saying this. Here's in chapter 4. He says, sons, heed the discipline of a father. Listen and learn discernment. For I give you good instruction. Do not forsake my teaching. So again, he's putting it for us that don't forsake it. You're going to have a tough time if you do. And one of the main teachings being given by Solomon, who's considered by many the wisest man of all times, is guidance to help ourselves. He says, once I was a son to my father, the tender darling of my mother. He instructed me and said to me, let your mind hold on to my words. For my commandments, keep my commandments, and you will live. Acquire wisdom, acquire discernment. So the Father tells us, acquire this wisdom. Do not forget and do not swerve from my words. Do not forsake her, and she will guard you. Love her, and she will protect you. So here we're told that we will find guidance in the wisdom. We'll be protected. We're going to get so many benefits from the wisdom. Now, gold is a great thing because we can buy food. We can use it for educational expenses, medical expenses, a great thing. But what protection here, well, nobody needs to be told the value of gold. He doesn't say treasure gold. He doesn't say, my son, follow my advice, treasure gold. Because we know that. That's natural. We want that gold. It's natural, biologically built in to seek to survive. Let me breathe. Let me eat. Let me drink. Let me have the pleasures of the flesh. That's natural. This feels good. Nobody has, you don't have to be told that. But to seek this pleasure, the spiritual pleasure, and the protection and long life and health. So it's a subtler pleasure, but it's a great tonic for us. He always says over and over again, my son, heed and take in my words. Why does he keep saying that? Well, he must think that you're not going to take it in. Otherwise, you're not going to say, pay attention. Hey, pay attention. I'm telling you something. Why does he keep saying that? Must feel you're not going to pay attention. You tell your kids, hey, didn't I tell you don't do that? Pay attention. I want to talk to you. This is important what I'm saying to you. Your life depends on it. Pay attention. And you'll have many years of life. I instruct you in the ways of wisdom. I instruct you in the way of wisdom. So he's telling us over and over again, pay attention, I'm telling you something. And why? Because as children, we get distracted with petty things. Hey, I know you're interested in making another buck. Hey, I know you're interested in buying a doll. I know you want to buy another bicycle. Pay attention, I want to tell you something. Well, I'm still here. Pay attention. Wisdom. And many children don't pay attention, but then later on in life, maybe even after the father passes away, say, my dad always told me, seek wisdom. He kept telling me, pay attention, seek wisdom. Keep it is your life. Do not enter the path of the wicked. Do not walk on the way of evil men. Always the advice, don't follow the evil. Now, if he thought his son would prosper under evil, he wouldn't say that. He knows it's going to be the downfall. My son, listen to my words, incline your ears to my words. Starts off over and over. Listen, listen, listen. I know you're distracted. I know you're not paying attention. Listen. Do not lose sight of them. Keep them in your mind. They are life to him who finds them. Healing for his whole body. So these words of wisdom actually will heal our body. It's an important health measure. In addition to the medicines that we normally take and the diet and the exercise, we attain wisdom will also add in many ways. One is it will reduce negative influences. For instance, anger, which is very, very dangerous for the cardiovascular system. It's a fact that people who are angry suffer more cardiovascular events such as strokes and heart attacks. So it'll cut down this. It'll cut down the damaging effects to our organs and to the cardiovascular system and other systems within the body. But also it produces health in and of itself, strengthens the immune system. More than all that you guard your mind, for it is a source of life. So he's saying, guard your mind. Now, how many people guard their minds? Nobody practically. Guard your mind. What's one of the best ways to guard your mind? Well, one of the ways is to read the scripture. Another way is to keep repeating certain power thoughts, because you can control that. You make a decision, I want to repeat these thoughts. A person can take a thought such as, I will treasure wisdom above gold. I will treasure wisdom above gold. So you're repeating that all day long. It's guarding my mind. Why do I keep saying it all day long? Because I'm going to forget if I don't. I'll forget it. Or say, Lord, I love you with all my heart, all my soul, all my mind, and all my strength. It's one of the great commandments. Lord, I love you with all my heart, all my strength, all my mind, all my soul. Or I love you, Lord. So you're repeating that all day long. What is that? Guards your mind. More than all that, guard your mind, for it is the source of life. So we have to protect our minds, because there's a great deal of negativity. And the power thought system is really a way to keep negative thoughts from coming up. And when they do come up, give us a way to overpower them, such as the thought, I forgive you. I forgive you always. I forgive you now and forever. I forgive you now and forever. Very good power thought, because people tend to wrong us and we want to have revenge and we want to hold on to resentments and grudges, which damages us. So if I walk around and say, I forgive you totally, now and forever. I forgive you totally, now and forever. Totally is an amplifier. Then we have the expanders, now and forever. That's protection against the negativity, against that which can destroy me, namely my own resentments. The appearance, now here's another of my epigrams. The appearance of things cannot deceive the eye of wisdom, for it sees below the surface. Below the surface. So a person, once we understand that, we say, well, you did this such and such to me, but it makes it easier to forgive you because I know you were hurt. I see beneath the surface. You said angry words, but where did it come from? Well, it comes from that you love me and you were vulnerable to me, and so you were hurt and you said that. So it's easier to forgive you when we see beneath the surface, and that's wisdom. Wisdom involves depth. To attain depth of perception. And certainly the new social contract of having deeper conversations right now in our society, 5% of the time is deep conversations and 95% of the time it's superficial. The new social contract that I've been advocating is at least 50-50, 50% of the time deep, 50% of the time superficial. And that way you have an opportunity to influence each other and help spread the wisdom. And it'll tell us in Proverbs, to achieve more wisdom, be with wise people. When you're with wise people, you're going to have deeper conversations. Wise people aren't going to spend 95% of their time in superficial conversation. So we want to seek people who have deeper conversations, because that will bring us greater wisdom. Because depth is absolutely essential for wisdom. And tribulation typically is as well. When a person can look at a tribulation, whether it's a relationship issue, a financial issue, a health issue, and realize they're going to gain wisdom from this. They're going to gain power if they desire wisdom. Because otherwise, the person just complains, oh, why does this always happen to me? Always me. This is going on, and this happened to me, and that happened to me. But if the person desires wisdom, they say, okay, this terrible things happen, but I'm going to learn from it. I'm going to gain power from it. So I call this the law of tribulation. It's the warrior's power thought. I gain power from hardship. I gain power from tribulation. What kind of power? Wisdom, understanding, even greater physical strength, making us stronger. We all know that. We can look back and say, gee, that hardship I went through, that tough thing I went through made me stronger, made me a better person. But the key here is to be able to appreciate it, even be grateful while in the midst of the tribulation. Because the tribulation plays 5 roles. 1, it detaches us from the material world so that we can turn more to spiritual aspects of life, or even when it comes time to leave this earth, we can leave and say, it was great being here, but it's not so bad leaving because we've suffered. It also empowers us, makes us stronger. It helps give us perspective, because when things are going well, you just get to, you don't think as broadly about things, but tribulation makes you really ponder and think and meditate. It does all of this for us. It empowers us. It gives us perspective. And it does something else very important. It drives us towards God. Because when a person's comfortable all the time, they don't seek the Word of God, most likely. But as they say, there are no atheists in the foxhole. When people feel endangered, then they say, God, I can't deal with this. Then they turn to, that's another of the great functions of tribulation, a great aspect of it. Now, when we talk about depth, we're talking not only depth of speaking, but there's depth of hearing, to hear at a deep level. So a person may wish to hear through the ear of oneness, to hear deeply. The hearing, I hear what you're really saying. I hear you're saying this, but I also hear what else you're saying. So depth involves hearing and involves having deep thoughts, and you can choose your thoughts. As a matter of fact, I'll demonstrate that right now. Right now I'm going to ask you to have a pleasant memory. Think of something earlier that happened, pleasant meal, seeing somebody you love, a pleasant experience. Take a moment and do that. Now, everyone did that effortlessly, flawlessly, naturally. So we can choose our thoughts. We not only chose the time dimension, the past, we also chose the polarity. It was a pleasant memory. It was a positive thought. So we can bring our thoughts, we can actually choose the thoughts. And before I asked you to do that, you weren't thinking of that. So you demonstrated a power that only human beings have, which is to direct our attention to where we choose. And in so doing, we demonstrate our human nature, because no other species can do that. To any other species, it's just stimulus response or association. We can actually choose where we put our thoughts. And on choosing our thoughts, it also helps affect our feelings. When we choose a positive thought, we get more of a positive feeling. And as we have more positive thoughts and feelings, then we lead to greater deeds, positive deeds and words, and more positive choices. One aspect of wisdom, it's good judgment, making good choices. That's part of the dictionary definition of wisdom, good judgment. So all of this, in terms of reaching greater depth in hearing and thought and feeling and deeds and words and in choices, all of this depth can be developed. We can choose the thoughts to go deeply. We can choose deep power thoughts, such as I forgive you, or I cherish wisdom above all else. I cherish wisdom above gold. So by choosing these thoughts, we're planting the seed and watering the seed of depth in ourselves, which is an essential part of wisdom. And through wisdom, life is transformed. There's a certain light. When you meet somebody who speaks with wisdom, everybody recognizes it. Something wise is being said. It taps something. It's recognized totally. To truly see with our own eyes, seek to know what is deep within. We have to know what is deep within and leave behind all truth and lies. So we don't want to look through the eyes of our neighbor. We don't want to look at realities. Well, this somebody said it's this or it's that. We look through our own eyes, through wisdom. And we enter realms of fresh domain, newness. Everything becomes new because we're looking through our own eyes, not through the eyes of others telling us things. And behold, the jewel of the wise. Wisdom is the guardian of goodness. That's an actual important aspect of wisdom. Wisdom doesn't lead to evil. Wisdom goes to goodness. And do not fear the wise, for they do not take personally the abuse of the world. So when a wise person receives abuse, he realizes, well, this person couldn't help himself. I may have to protect myself and neutralize the damage, but I don't have to take revenge or take this personally. Somebody's on the road and they scream at me, make obscene gestures. I'm not going to take it personally. He has some issues going on and he's releasing his tension, whatever. God bless you, I wish you well. Because they don't take personally the abuse of the world. So we don't have to fear the wise because they're not going to take personally whatever we do in a bad way. Now we see that forgiveness, which is part of wisdom, is the mother of health. We're told that we have healing, we'll have health with wisdom. Forgiveness is the mother of health, and wisdom, the father of light. It's one of the epigrams that I've written. Forgiveness is the mother of health, and wisdom, the father of light. When there's wisdom, there's actually a feeling of light that goes in there. Okay. You look with a certain smile upon creation, a smile of compassion. When tribulation does arise and diversion cannot hide the pain, then the complacent do awake to seek the counsel of the wise. Most people are asleep a good deal of the time, but tribulation, one of the great things of tribulation, wakes us up. Hey, wait a minute. It's got slapped in the face. Well, what's going on here? What's going on? This has happened. Well, what happened? And so at that point, a person may they can't just go to the movies, read a book, have a drink. It doesn't work after a while. So the complacent do awake and seek the counsel of the wise. So they seek the counsel of the wise, either going to Scripture, going to a friend, going to somebody who has wisdom to help them understand. So another aspect of tribulation is it awakens us so that we arise. Another aspect of wisdom are priorities. When priorities are forgotten, wisdom does not exist. Priorities could be love of our family, love of humanity, whatever the priorities are, health. When it's forgotten, there is no wisdom at that moment, because wisdom entails remembering priorities. And I gave several seminars on ways to remember our priorities, to internalize it through power thoughts. But true wisdom can never be attained by those who deny their mortality. To have true wisdom, we have to realize we're only on this earth for a short period of time. If you live to 106 years old, 107, whatever, it goes just like that. I'm 67 and went boom, just like that. Everybody will tell you it just went so quickly. So once a person realizes you only have so many days here, then they can keep their priorities. Say, well, I don't want to waste my time doing this, or waste my time thinking that, or waste my time feeling this. I have to pay attention to what really matters. Well, what matters? Well, my family, love, health. This is what matters. So a person has to recognize their mortality. That's going to be a tremendous help. Not a morbid preoccupation with death, but looking at our own death as an ally, saying, well, I only have so much time and I want to use it wisely. So it can't be attained unless we're in touch with that mortality. Another aspect of wisdom is often restraint. And we're going to see, he talks also about silence, but restraint is an essential aspect of it. And we're going to see in Proverbs where he talks about that. My son, listen to my wisdom, incline your ears to my insight, that you may have foresight. While your lips hold fast to knowledge, for the lips of a forbidden woman drip honey. Now, the forbidden woman could be physically a woman, a forbidden woman, or it could be other desires. A forbidden woman could be likened unto seeking drugs, or seeking alcohol too much, or seeking things that are destructive to us, the forbidden woman. But it could be literally the forbidden woman. Her mouth is smoother than oil, but in the end she is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Her feet go down to death. Very often, what your father would tell his son, watch out for the forbidden woman. You don't want to go down that path, because a woman will have a tremendous impact on the man, and vice versa. He says, find joy in the wife of your youth. Be infatuated with love of her always. Why be infatuated, my son, with a forbidden woman? So here again is part of the essential wisdom to a son, is to say, to find a good woman and be infatuated with her always. Why look to anybody else? That's foolishness. Look always to the wife. This is a great gift. So an essential part of wisdom in life is to find the right mate and to be devoted to that mate. He talks about what he hates. He says 6 things the Lord hates. 7 are an abomination to him. A haughty bearing. Arrogance is a terrible barrier between people. And often arrogance has blocked gratitude. People don't want to acknowledge that they're grateful to just know each other or have an opportunity to be with one another. A haughty bearing, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a mind that hatches evil plots, feet quick to run to evil, a false witness testifying lies, and one who incites brothers to quarrel. So we're told in Proverbs, these are the things the Lord hates. These are the opposite of wisdom. Wisdom, as wise, we're being protected against these things that the Lord hates. He says, my son, keep your father's commandments. Over and over. Gotta keep it. Hey, stop. I'm telling you something. Listen to my commandments. Do not forsake your mother's teaching. Tie them over your heart always. So the mother and the father, that's the beginning of the wisdom. And we're giving the foundation for our lives. For the commandment is a lamp. The teaching is a light. And the way of life is the rebuke that disciplines. Often talks about in Proverbs, the rebuke that disciplines. The discipline so that we stop. We see, you get this. Don't do that. I told you, don't do that. This is what's going to happen to you if you do it. Don't do that. So that's the rebuke that disciplines. Don't do it. It will keep you from an evil woman. So the discipline that we're getting from the smooth tongue of a forbidden woman. Do not lust for her beauty or let her capture you with her eyes. The last loaf of bread will go for a harlot. So again, he's talking literally about a woman, or you can look at that woman, the harlot, also as many ways of the world, whether it's gambling or things that can be destructive to ourselves. But he keeps referring to it. Do not lust for her beauty or let her capture you with her eyes. So it's a very specific thing of being caught with the eyes of a woman and then captured by it. So one way, of course, in dealing with maintaining our chastity is to avert the eyes of a woman that's not your wife or not your relative is one way to do that. It's not the only way, that's for sure. But one way that would work is to look away then from the eyes of other women. One way to do that. It says, my son, keep my words, keep my commandments. Say to wisdom, you are my sister. She will guard you from a forbidden woman. Again, literally a physical woman, a forbidden woman, or a woman that will take you away from your priorities, take you away from what really matters, love, loyalty, respect, becoming a person of honor with wisdom. So these are some of the teachings. It talks about here, it is wisdom calling in chapter 8. For wisdom is better than rubies. No goods can equal her. I, wisdom, live with prudence. I attain knowledge and foresight. To fear the Lord is to hate evil. I hate pride, arrogance, the evil way. So wisdom keeps us from the evil way. I am understanding. Courage is mine. Through me, kings reign and rulers decree just laws. So it affects us as individuals who have dominion over our own kingdoms, or the king of a land, all benefiting. So we see that fear of God is essential, depth. We see the importance of restraint as part of wisdom. We see also that there's perspective. Now, when we have perspective, which comes with wisdom, we don't overreact. We see the end in the beginning. We have compassion. We see cause and effect. We have power thoughts to keep us. I will keep perspective and not overreact. I will keep perspective and not overreact. I will keep perspective always and never overreact. Because you look at most of us, we're overreacting. Anybody who's overreacting is obviously lacking in wisdom at that moment. Why are you reacting that way? There's nothing there. So a person also needs then self-knowledge. Well, I have these limitations. An important part of wisdom is to know our limitations. So, well, I tend to be this way, so I have to fight against that. I will choose a scripture to help me. I will choose a power thought to help me because I need help in this area. A person who has a history of not keeping his word would do well to take the power thought, keep my word is my first priority always. Keeping my word is my first priority always. Keeping my word is my first priority always. Well, a person has to know themselves and say, you don't have a problem. I haven't been keeping my word. So they have to reach that point of self-knowledge. So an important part of wisdom is self-knowledge. And through self-knowledge, we know our strengths. And as important, and maybe more importantly, we know our weaknesses. Say, gee, I have a short fuse. I tend to overreact. I'll keep perspective and never overreact. I'll keep perspective and never overreact. I will keep perspective and never overreact. I'll keep perspective and never overreact. Or another one could be, I refuse to let you control my anger. Why should I turn control over you? Set me off over these stupid things and damage myself. It's bad enough you stuck a knife in me, I'm not going to take the knife and damage myself. I refuse to let you control my anger. I refuse to let you control my anger. I refuse to ever let you control my anger. So that then we're saying, okay, I know I have this issue. I know my limitations. That's part of wisdom. And we take a thought. Self-knowledge. Another important aspect of wisdom is knowing patterns. We see the patterns in life. One great pattern is every cause has an effect. If I do this, somewhere down the line now, or somewhere down the line is going to be this effect. If I keep borrowing and borrowing and borrowing, and I'm not making enough money to pay it, eventually my house is going to go. It might take a couple of years till I use up all my credit, but here's the effect down the line. So I know what's coming. I see the end in the beginning. I better not keep borrowing money because I don't make enough to cover that. I'm going to lose my house. So we see the end and the beginning in all ways. So if you, even if you choose a friend, you choose this is a friend who is wise, so I will continue to gain wisdom from it. But associated with this person is always drinking. I don't really want to go down that path. So we need to understand patterns and timing. And there's certain knowledge that's ancient, that's particularly passed down from scriptures, the ancient knowledge, to seek wisdom, to seek to forgive, to not be judgmental. This is ancient knowledge. And always, but also about wisdom, there's also always an aspect of common sense. There's a lot to be said. A person may not be learned formal education, but a person with good common sense, street smarts, there is a wisdom, streetwise, to understand this is the way of the world. And often, wisdom has to do with knowledge of human nature, being wise in the way of the world with people. Although it also can refer to strategy, being whether it's business strategy, sports strategy, strategy in warfare, and so forth. But most of the time, very often, it's used wisdom in the context of human nature. But there's also an aspect of wisdom that's playful. There's a smile, there's a laughter. So when things happen, and that light of wisdom often has with it a certain smile, a smile of transcendence, a transcendence to the pettiness of life, above it, because we looked into the depths, we see what matters, we've sought wisdom, and we rise above things, and there's a certain smile. And always the wise have been respected. So another way to achieve wisdom is to have wise counsel. So part of our own wisdom is to say, well, this person has wisdom. I'm going to turn to that person. If I turn to this person, I'm going to get bad advice. It's going to be destructive. But I know when I turn to this person, because this person leads a very good life. I like the way this person's life is. I want to seek wisdom here. I mean, look how Solomon is remembered, the wisest man. His wisdom is famous throughout the world. It's always been valued. Those who love me, I love, and those who seek me will find me. So we're saying, I treasure wisdom above all else. I treasure wisdom above gold. You're going to find wisdom. Riches and honor belong to me, enduring wealth and success. So even wealth and success will come with wisdom. My fruit is better than gold, fine gold, and my produce better than choice silver. On the paths of justice, I endow those who love me with substance. I fill their treasures. Now here's the thing I was saying before. The Lord created me, wisdom, at the beginning of his course. At the first of his works of old, in the distant past I was fashioned, at the beginning, at the origin of earth. There was no deep when I was brought forth, no springs rich in water. Before the foundation, the mountains were sunk. Before the hill, I was born. He had not yet made earth and fields. So wisdom was here even before the earth and the fields. Or the world's first clump of clay. I was here when he set the heavens into place. He was here then. Wisdom. When he fixed the horizon above the deep. When he made the heavens above firm, and the fountains of the deep gushed forth, when he assigned the sea to its limits, so that its waters never transgress his command, when he fixed the foundations of the earth, I was with him as a confidant. Wisdom itself was a confidant of God, a source of delight every day. So wisdom gave God himself delight, rejoicing before him at all times. Happy is the man who listens to me. Again, happiness tied to it. But God himself is delighted by wisdom, the companion of God. But he talks also about, again, this a two-edged sword. Wisdom gives health and life, and a lack of wisdom causes death, causes negative destruction. But he who misses me destroys himself. All who hate me love death. So that's the other side of it. If we don't seek the wisdom, if we're not drawn to it, or if we don't even like it. Somebody says, why are you always talking about these deep things? Why are we saying these things? I mean, let's go out and have some fun. That person doesn't like it. That exists. Some of you just don't even like hearing about it. So you're always too serious. Why are you getting into these deep subjects? Come on, lighten up. Well, it's certainly a time to lighten up, no question about it. But that's more indicative of people who are not drawn to it and maybe even hate it. Instruct a wise man, and he will grow wiser. The beginning of wisdom is fear of the Lord. So again, we're told over and over again to fear the Lord, a healthy fear, more akin to respect. For through me your days will increase and years be added to your life. We're told over and over again, through wisdom, we're going to have a longer, healthier, happier life. So why? Gold will help too. I mean, through gold you can buy good food, healthy food, organic produce and so forth, and good medical care. Gold can also help, but also people in pursuing the gold can sacrifice their health and destroy themselves in doing it. It's very common the case, or fight over the gold and get nervous about losing it. So wisdom, that's why we have the power thought. I suggest very strongly, I treasure wisdom above gold. Always, I treasure wisdom above gold. We're not saying I don't treasure gold, I treasure wisdom above it. So I'm going to leave a little time now to get your thoughts, your reactions about this very crucial topic about wisdom. Any comments you have, or questions, thoughts that have gone through your mind. You've been passive for a little while as I've been just talking on about these things. Yeah, Maheen.
Well, regarding that gold and wisdom is also when you have the gold, if you don't have the wisdom, you're not going to be able to use it in a right way, and you're going to use it in a destructive way. But you got to have the wisdom with the gold also, same time, to be able to
very true.
use it in a
Very true. They say, as they say, a fool and his money are soon parted. So they'll lose the gold, and also will be used destructively. A person can then use it to just keep indulging at the vanity, only the vanity. So it takes to use it wisely is very important. So to provide for your children and then do something for society with it is to use it wisely, or invest in businesses, and so you're doing something productive with it, not just squandering it. Very true. Without the wisdom first, the gold can be a burden. Then people start coming around you. They don't really want your friendship. They just want your gold. They just want your money. And a fool who doesn't have wisdom will just think they're really friends, and as soon as his money is gone, they all disappear. Famous story. So that's why the wisdom, well said, is that the wisdom is essential first even, and then wealth.
The man and forbidden woman situations.
And any situation, man, a forbidden woman. A forbidden woman, again, being physically a woman, but the forbidden woman could be drugs. People often call that the woman. Could be excessive alcohol, gambling. It could be many aspects of life that are destructive in addition to physically biological woman. I should say that, the Torah, which is the foundation of Judaism, which then has influenced both Islam and Christianity, I have a photograph that kind of captures a lot of the spirit. That this scholar studying the book, this captures a lot of the feeling of Judaism. This photograph, where he's bent over, absorbing, becoming wise in the ways of the Lord, which then makes us wise in life. And I wrote a poem to go with it. Holy, holy, holy is the word of God. Study and learn. Blessed is the student who is bent over the sacred book. There is no enjoyment higher than this. Be immersed through all your days in the fountain of deeds ordained by your Lord. all else is nothing. This captures some of the fragrance of Judaism. And the Torah, in the study, in study being so important, the study of the Torah, and then of course Bible scholars, scholars of Scripture in all religion, achieve great understanding and wisdom, whatever the religious text is.
You're saying the Torah came first. Is that
Well, the Torah was there before the New Testament, and it was before the Quran, and both influenced greatly. I mean, in fact, the New Testament is an extension of the Old Testament, and the Old Testament is based on the Torah.
It seems like, that definitely we need the wisdom for just being in this life, and that's why I think everybody kind of like look for the wisdom in somebody, parents or teachers or anybody that have the wisdom. So we kind of like crave, and that's what we go and look for, the wisdom in the people that they can be able to give to us.
And some people have more of a craving than others. It's a blessing to crave it, but it's a taste that we can develop in ourselves through the power thought. I consider my greatest wealth wisdom more than gold. Michael?
Is that why you chose Proverbs?
Proverbs lent itself very easily to wisdom teachings. Proverbs lent itself very, very well to that. That's why I chose Proverbs, exactly. Yeah.
It fascinates me that Solomon wrote these Proverbs years ago, and they still make complete sense, like 2,000-3,000 years later.
Yeah.
You can use them the way we live, and obviously they lived a completely different way back then, but they're timeless almost.
Well, the eternal truths can be lived at any time in history. The social laws of new revelations change, but the spiritual laws are eternal. Wisdom will never go out of style, and there'll be some who crave it more than others. So it behooves us to develop our appetite for it, to develop a thirst for it, make no search for water, but find thirst, and water from the very ground will burst. As we have a thirst for that wisdom, it'll just start coming to us. Well, with this, I want to thank you. I've been very humbled to even be able to present something on Torah. I'm very grateful to be here with you. I'm honored to be here with you. And I thank you deeply, and I'm grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.